Welcome to Inside the Mind, a podcast hosted by myself, Jennifer Forster, and my beautiful co-host, Allie. We're excited to be here, diving into edgy, raw, and relatable conversations woven together with mind-blowing questions that will shake up your model of the world, expand your thinking, unravel your beliefs, tease apart your patterns, and walk you to the very edges of everything you've ever believed about yourself.
As NLP trainers, coaches, entrepreneurs, we'll be traversing the topics of business, relationships, money, family, spirituality, leadership, and personal growth, all through the discerning lens of NLP, ancient teachings, and a healthy sprinkling of womanly wisdom. One thing we believe to be true is that if we want a different outcome, we must be willing to ask a different question. And the answers to those questions are always inside the mind.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Inside the Mind, the podcast. I'm Jen Forster. This is the beautiful Allie May, and we are bringing you another episode. Today's a good one, isn't it? Today's a really good one. Today's an episode that's really foundational to the human experience, in my opinion. I think what you're going to take away from today is something that's going to give you a whole new insight into you as a human being and the way you process information. It's very cool.
Yeah. And also, everything always starts with us, and then it's about everybody else around us too. So not only will you learn something today for yourself about you, you also may be able to see things in other people, which is something that we really love as well. This work is foundational, and it's something that's not taught to us. It's not anything that I knew until I started studying NLP way back when. Same with you, Jen, right?
Same, absolutely. I must say that I had an inkling through some books that I read, Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul, and even through connecting to my womb and understanding this other voice, this other energy, this other part of me that seemed to exist that I would often refer to as her. However, once I came upon the work of NLP and timeline therapy, what I came to understand is it's my unconscious mind that I was connecting with intuitively, and it's something we can all really learn how to do. And it's like bringing a star player in off the bench, really. So if the podcast episode is you are not the voices of your mind, you are the one that hears them, I think that's a really great way to drop in here, Allie, and start right there. So what is the conscious mind? What is the unconscious mind? And what is the difference between the two of them?
Yeah, and before we jump into that, I'd just like to share one other thing here. So in psychology, there is the subconscious. So in touching on what you said, like you knew there was something, Jen, and I'd heard in psychology the subconscious mind, and I'd never deep dived into that. So didn't really know about the unconscious mind, the conscious mind, and then us. Like we are separate to there's like three of us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like our beautiful mentor, Tad James, God bless him. And I'm not even sure that this is actually his. I think he might have taken this from Richard Bandler or one of the grandfathers of NLP. But it's the question of who's driving the bus. So there's you, there's unconscious mind, and there's conscious mind. And it's almost like a beautiful threesome, if you like. And each leg in that triangle is important. Every one of them has a role to play. And it's bringing the capacity of each element there, you, the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, into this beautiful synergistic experience where one is not dominating the other. You are actually all working together. And that's when you'll experience, if you've ever experienced something, that feels like alignment or feels like I'm just in flow or man, I'm just in the zone. If you've ever experienced that, it is highly likely that your conscious mind and unconscious mind are absolutely just completely in balance. You're all present. You're all doing what you are designed to do. And life truly does get to be easier when that happens.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And what I just love to pre-frame here before we dive into the differences between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind is the reason that we say unconscious mind and not subconscious like in psychology is because in the work that we are immersed in NLP, we believe that the unconscious mind is not under, and sub refers to under. So you will never hear us say subconscious mind. You will always hear us say unconscious mind. So we're just going to dive in and bounce together on what the unconscious mind does and what the conscious mind does.
Yeah. So do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So the unconscious mind runs the body. It runs everything while we're sleeping. It's like, it's our heartbeat, it's our blood, it's everything that's going on within our body.
Whereas the conscious mind is only able to process 134 bits per second of information out of 2 million bits of information that are coming at us at any one time. Yeah.
And I think, Jen, I know we touched on this in one of our previous episodes. There's theories on 2 million, 7 million, and 11 million bits. So sometimes we might say 2 million, sometimes we might say 7 million, sometimes we might say 11 million.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And the jury's out. And theoretically, we can't prove or disprove exactly that number. So people have studied, there are conceptions out there around it. So yeah, if you hear us say 2 million, 7 million, 11 million, 14 million, it's a lot of bits. However, what we do know is and if you think about this for a second, if all those bits of information are coming at you with your mind through your senses, only able to catch 134 bits of that information. So where's all the rest of the information gone?
And this is something Jen and I haven't talked about. It was something, Jen, this downloaded for me yesterday or the day before. Remember we were having a talk about plant medicine.
Yes.
And this is a topic that I would love us to dive into. So I've journeyed with multiple plant medicines, and this came into our thoughts around, if we can only take in or process 134 bits per second of information, what happens when we're in a medicine journey? So we will park that for now, and we will come back to that as an episode on all things plant medicine.
Yes. And just to be clear here, plant medicine is not NLP and it's not timeline therapy. It's something separate, but it's something that we'd love to talk about. Yeah. So the conscious mind is the part of you that's verbal. It's the part of you that's thinking, logical, rational. It's the part of you that conceptualizes everything.
And your unconscious mind is nonverbal. So it's feeling. It's all about spatial relationships. It's nonverbal and it's beyond language.
The conscious mind is only aware of now.
And the unconscious mind stores and controls all of your memories and is aware of the past.
The conscious mind learns sequentially, one thing at a time.
Whereas the unconscious mind learns concurrently, which is it can learn a number of things at the same time.
The conscious mind needs time to learn something.
Whereas the unconscious mind can learn instantaneously.
The conscious mind is also our cognitive learning.
The unconscious mind is experiential.
The conscious mind is the thinking part of us.
And these two here are so important for me. Jen just said the conscious mind is thinking. The unconscious mind is feeling. Every single emotion that we experience comes from our unconscious mind.
And I'd love to touch on this, Allie, and we'll go much deeper on this as well. One thing you're going to come to understand, guys, being here on this journey, this podcast with us, this is almost a continuous story, and you are the main character. I am the main character. Allie is the main character. We are all our own main characters. And so there are lots of spin-offs from this. One key thing here in and around the emotional side of things. So if it's our unconscious mind that is where all of our emotions are, right? We've just discovered that. Consider this. If you find it difficult to be with your emotions on any level, then there is also a likelihood that you are pinching off wisdom, information, anything that may be stored in the unconscious mind. So if we're unable to feel, we're not in that moment accessing our unconscious mind. We're closing it off.
Yeah, and why do we want to access the unconscious mind, Jen?
Because it's holding a bunch of information that can help us to dissolve limiting decisions. It's got everything. Like as we said, if we go back to that 11 million bits of information and we only catch 134, where does the remaining 11 million bits go? It's all in our unconscious mind. So it's like a reservoir, if you like, of every single thing that we've experienced in this life, in past life, in the future, in the now. Every single thing that's ever occurred in our existence is in our unconscious mind. And a really key piece here too is the conscious mind cannot access the unconscious mind. So conscious mind is walking around with these 134 bits per second, thinking, it's all that, because that's what it does. It thinks I'm all that and I've got these 134 bits. And yet we're trying to create change in our lives from just these 134 bits of information that we've caught throughout our lifetime, whereas the remaining 11 million bits per second across a whole lifetime is in our unconscious mind. We're not playing with the full deck here. We're not, no pun intended there, but we're really not playing our life out with the full reservoir of wisdom that's available to us.
Yeah, there's so much wisdom in the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind, being that it is emotional, that it is the feeling part of us, it alerts us of things, and it will bring things to the surface when we are ready to look at them.
Yeah.
It will only ever give us what we can handle at any point in time. So we will talk more about this. We'll just continue. There's a couple more pieces here we want to give you on the difference between the two.
Yeah. So the conscious mind asks why.
And the unconscious mind already knows the answer.
The conscious mind tries to understand the problem.
And the truth is the unconscious mind already knows the solution. And this is where conflict comes in. What happens is we go about our business running from our conscious mind and going into, well, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And if you will, I've just got this picture of the unconscious mind sitting there going, okay, you just go off and do what you want to do. And if you would like some support, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm right here with the answers for you if you would like them.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you just said conscious mind or unconscious mind, but Allie was referring to the unconscious mind sitting there going, well, I can help you with this.
Sorry, unconscious mind doing that. Yeah, if I did say, I don't even know what I said there.
And another really cool example of that, and I gave this to a client yesterday. So imagine you've got a car that's flying down a highway, and it's got no coordinates. It's got no one driving it. It doesn't know where it's going. There's no map, and yet it's got its pedal to the metal and it's just gunning it. That's your conscious mind. Now, how much more effective would that car be if it had actually tapped into some coordinates, if it actually read the map? Who's got the map? It's all in the unconscious mind. Now imagine that car working really effectively. Would it have to gun it all the time? No, it wouldn't. Could it actually ease back sometimes? Well, yes, it probably might need to if it needs to take a left turn or a right turn or it needs to go up a hill or down a hill. The information to have that car arrive easily and effortlessly at its destination is in the unconscious mind.
It's so beautiful. So let's dive into now. Oh, one other thing here, just a little side note. It is said that difficulties in life are thought to be from a disconnection between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. And this is where we can beautifully dive into. So the next part, which is, how many courses and programs did you do, Jen, prior to NLP? That where it was like, we just laugh on this, right? Far out. If I counted all of the courses and programs I did to make $1 million, to have a better relationship, to be happy, all the courses that I invested in, the funny thing was, and not funny, is that I still had me. There was only so much that I could see out of the 134 bits of information that I was processing on the daily, that I could see, that I could feel, that I could believe, all of these parts. There was that small amount as I went in to do these programs and courses. So here I am going in with, okay, I'm going to learn how to make $1 million. Where at the unconscious level, I had stories playing out. I'm not good enough. I can't make the money I want. I don't know how to do this. And so these things sitting at the unconscious level were preventing me from shifting them at the conscious level to have what it is that I wanted.
Yeah, I love that, Allie. And when we think about that, if we begin to think about that, the conscious mind is the critical thinker. It thrives on information. However, if that information is coming in and at the very core of that is this disconnect between the emotional part of you that may not even believe it's, if you grew up, like this is one of my favorite examples. If you grew up and it wasn't safe to have money, or it wasn't safe to be in a calm, peaceful relationship, if that wasn't your experience growing up, then that won't feel safe for you as an adult. So you can go out and do all of the relationship courses and money courses that you want, And there's still this part of you that's firing off in your unconscious mind, the emotional part of you that is actually saying, no, that's not safe. No, that's not safe. No, that's not safe. So if you've ever been someone, and this is probably every human with a heartbeat, that has really tried to have something change in your life, whether it be money, a relationship, thriving business, whatever it is, good health, whatever. And for whatever reason, it's like you're spinning your wheels and getting nowhere. And yet you've done all the courses and you've done all the bits and pieces and you know a lot, and yet nothing's changed. I'm going to posit that the reason it hasn't changed is because there is information sitting in your unconscious mind that has not yet been resolved.
Yeah, there's some key pieces that I want to share here so that this can land in an even deeper way.
Mm-hmm.
The unconscious mind's job is to protect us. It's one of its jobs. And with that, it will do everything that it can. So if we go out to learn something new, just say like to learn to make $1 million a year. I don't know why that's coming up, but it's just coming up. That's the example. So if we were to look at that, yet we did have these stories playing out at the unconscious level of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't create that, based off our childhood, based off our lineage, generational pieces, then it's going to be difficult for us to create that. Now, here's the piece here that I think is important to know right now. The unconscious mind is of service. It wants to be of service. It's not wrong. It's not bad. What happens is between the ages of 0 and 7, our imprint years, we make beliefs. And every belief starts first with a limiting decision. We make the decision and that forms into a belief. And then over time, we reinforce that belief by playing out the same patterns. Now, with that, our unconscious mind is like a child. It's the emotional part of us that stores the memories, stores every single experience. It's like a hard drive, if you will, with everything in it. And we feed it. So if we say, I'm not good enough, the unconscious mind goes, okay, I'm not good enough. So if conscious mind says, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, unconscious mind goes into memory and will go, oh no, we can't do that. And then the more we tell it, the more the conscious mind says, oh no, we can't do that, the more the unconscious mind will believe that. And so how do we shift this? How do we get the conscious mind and the unconscious mind working together, where the conscious mind says, I want to go and do this. And the unconscious mind goes, great, I will support you in this. How do we do that? How do we have that? Well, we create a connection between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
And I just want to preface something here as well. This is a very small episode.
I was just going to say that, Allie. My gosh,
yeah.
I love how we vibe. I was just about to say, we're giving you just a snack here. If you think about the metaphor of a snack, when you have a snack, why do we have a snack? We just want a quick boost of energy, right? And what happens when we have a whole meal? Well, it can put us to sleep. These episodes are going to be snacks for you, little snacks where you get to take something really juicy and potent and tangible without getting bogged down into too much information. We're going to break everything down over and over and over and over and over again for you through these episodes. You might get a piece today and you might get this piece in a whole nother way in another episode where we're talking about something completely different.
And also in our training rooms, this is the piece that I wanted to add in here as well, just based off that and the fact that this is a snippet. There is so much in our trainings. You do prac for 9 days with us. You do master prac for 16 days. They're big trainings. This information is on the daily. There is so much involved in this that we can only give you snippets in a 20-minute to 30-minute episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So what can you do now? So how do we start to have a relationship with our conscious mind and unconscious mind? And what are just a couple of quick tips that I can share with you as to how I began, firstly, to discern which is my unconscious mind talking and which is my conscious mind talking, or communicating with me, and also when are the better times to begin to tap into your unconscious mind. So the first piece there. So how do I know when I'm in my conscious mind? I know I'm in my conscious mind when I'm trying to figure something out, right? When I'm trying, and there's a time for this. Although if you're an overthinker, it's going to feel like it's all the time. So when I'm in this urgency, urgent, I need to figure this out. I need to try to understand something. If you can hear yourself saying, I just need to try and figure this out, your conscious mind is likely stuck on and you haven't got any unconscious wisdom coming through to support that. So when you feel yourself in that, I need to figure this out, I need to figure this out, I need to figure this out, take a step back, right? Take pause. So much power in a really good, solid pause. Take a pause. Turn off your phone, move away from all the stimulus that's coming in, because the conscious mind loves a lot of stimulus because it's figuring stuff out, right? So remove everything that's stimulating the conscious mind and just connect into your breathing. There is so much power in the breath. Connect back into your breathing and just start to tune into the quiet part of you, if you will. There is a quiet part of you, and it may take some practice. It certainly has for me. It's taken some practice. And the second piece here is the time where I found this a lot easier to do. So first thing in the morning, last thing at night. When we first wake up in the morning, our brain waves are in what's known as theta. So our theta brain waves. You know, when you first wake up and you're in that not quite awake, not quite asleep sort of energy, you're in theta brain waves. Same as when you are about to fall asleep, you're in theta. Now, for me, when I'm falling asleep, I don't really catch it as well because I'm going I'm going to sleep. But in the mornings, when I first wake up, that's when I connect into my unconscious mind. I do it almost every single morning. When I wake up, and it's usually my thinking mind waking me up, I catch it and I just sit up in bed and pause and connect into my unconscious mind. And I ask that part of me, what does she, I call it she, what does she desire us to do today? What does she want me to know right now? What am I not seeing in this moment? And I get little words or little sniffs of information or little images, and that in itself will be such a powerful, if this is the only thing you take away from today's episode and you begin to make that a practice in your everyday, that in itself is going to have you cultivate the very first stages of your relationship with your unconscious mind, and it's going to help you step back and see that you have a conscious mind thinking you, and you have an unconscious mind, non-verbal feeling you.
And I've got a couple of extra bits I want to add in here.
Perfect.
On another way we can look at this as well. So if you were to walk out onto the road and a bus was coming and you jumped back, that's your unconscious mind. Many times I have heard a little voice that says, in my own mind, that says, take a jumper with you, Allie. And I don't take a jumper and I end up cold, and I'm reminded of the voice that said, take a jumper. And I'm like, I should have taken my jumper. Yeah. Often my unconscious mind is communicating with me in that way. So now, by me having listened to that voice over and over again, take a water bottle, Allie. And I'm like, I dismiss it. I get where I'm going. It's like, shit, I should have bought a water bottle with me.
I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Right?
Yeah.
That's our unconscious mind. It's sharing with us. Its job is to support us. Its job is to look after us. And that's what it's attempting to do. It does everything for us. Gosh, I love my unconscious mind. Anytime we talk shit about ourselves, we are dissing the unconscious mind every single time. Oh yeah, we got so much. We'll do episode 2.10. I just close out on that. Yeah. So your intuition. Intuition is a really great starting point to start listening to your intuition to begin to access your unconscious mind.
Perhaps just to close this out here, if you're not sure if you have an unconscious mind, let us give you just a little piece of information here. So when you slept last night, who was it that had your heart beat? Who beat your heart last night? All your food, who digested all your food for you? When you're out walking, who tells your lungs to breathe for you? That is your unconscious mind running your beautiful body for you.
And just to be really clear on this, when we talk unconscious mind, it's not something you can find in the mind. You can't hack it up.
Yeah.
It's the parts of, it's the parts of you that you cannot see.
Okay, I think that's a good place to wrap this episode up. So join us on our next episode. If you really have loved this episode, please subscribe. We love sharing this information out with all of our listeners. We want every human being on the planet to know this work and to have this as a way of life. So we are more than happy to deliver this information out. What you can do for us in terms of reciprocity would be to subscribe to this podcast. Rate it if you like it. Leave a beautiful review if you've enjoyed it. That would mean so, so much to us, right?
Yeah.
And we will see you on the next episode.